Hello, Boris Pravisham here. Welcome back to the Nidd Whitelist server. I should probably have recorded a little bit more between the last episode and this one, because I have kind of built a fair amount of stuff. So this episode I'm hoping to do a very quick summary of what I've done, although knowing me that's probably going to be longer than I think it should be. And then I'm going to build a little communication drone, because in order for us to contact the planet down there, which is 110,000 meters away, and the beacons, or not beacons, the antennas only go 50k, so we're going to have basically a communication satellite halfway. And I was kind of thinking about building a couple of satellites to go around the planet, just outside of the gravity of the planet, which I'm not sure how far off the surface that is. I'll probably find out by the time I post this, but in case I haven't and couldn't be bothered, a bit lazy, feel free to post that. So I'm going to make a couple of satellites, so I will build along, and do an actual episode of that. So the little Tina there, no changes. I've got the two boosters. I think I showed that off. It's all, the last couple of weeks have all kind of run together for me, so I can't remember what I've shown and what I haven't. But anyway, those two boosters, you can see the merge blocks on the side. They connect to that merge block there, and there's another one on the other side with the thruster down the bottom pointing that way, same as that one. I remember saying that in the last episode. So that will get it off the ground. That thing, not only that, but any large ship. That's what these boosters are made for. They're a generic way of getting anything off the ground. They don't look good yet. I've decided to focus purely on functionality for these ships, just to make sure that they work. But when they're all connected together, it's really wide and it really doesn't look particularly good. So I'm not sure. Of course, oxygen is critical. So I'm not entirely sure how to make them. I'm not sure on color either. What color should I make that? That's what YouTube comments are for, right? I can just crowdsource all the things I couldn't be bothered working out for myself. Yeah, so 2 or 3 colors. Whoever suggests actually, maybe I shouldn't go first, because then someone will just say brown, pink, and some horrible, I don't know, orange. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? 3 colors. What 3 colors do you most like and would think would suit that? I guess it would have to be quite generic. It would have to go with most things. That's the color of that ship, but not all of my ships might, they might be different colors. So I guess they'd have to be fairly neutral in tone in order to go with everything. They're just yellow at the moment because that's the color I tend to work in. It's nice and bright and I can see where I'm putting things. Those lights, by the way, aren't staying on permanently. I just haven't hooked them up to the timer system yet. Those lights will be on while they're functioning, because they will blast the thing off. They'll get up to the height that you need them to go to. I've got a spreadsheet to work that out. And then they will return back down to your base, all on Earth, of course. So these things, I need to take them down with me when I go down. And then they will stay there. The ship will go back and forward, but the boosters will stay down there. And I'm going to build a couple more and have them up here as spares. So I've got these docks here, which refuel the hydrogen tanks. So, just in case something wrong goes down there, I have them in the safety of up here. I feel like it's safer to keep things in space, given all of the accidents they've had down there. This thing over here, you may be wondering what the hell that is. To be honest, I still kind of am. That is a rotor. I know it doesn't really look like one, but it performs the same function as a rotor. The idea is, in order to get this thing off the ground, I obviously don't want to blast it off. So if the ground was that way, I don't want to blast it off that way, because when those boosters, they're kind of the stage 1, when they let go, they're just going to be throwing a ship that way up, and I won't be able to make use of the large thruster at the back. So I need to tip the entire thing up that way, as if the ground was that way now. So that's how it would look on the launch pad, is facing the sky, as you'd expect. And yeah, in order to get it up that way, see, the only thing that would be holding it up would be those two, and it definitely doesn't work. It just falls over. So in order to avoid that, I was going to put a merge block, say on the top or on the bottom, with an arm on a rotor that would lift it up, and it would look quite nice. I had an aesthetic plan for it all, but I tested it out quite a bit on this server. I probably should have recorded some of that, come to think of it. I had before station that, actually I'll go onto the station later. This episode's probably going to be a little bit long, sorry about that. Yeah, so I had a merge block on a rotor, like a merge block on an arm on a rotor, and I was kind of testing out what the launch pad would be like in space without gravity, so if it went wrong, then I didn't destroy anything. And it didn't work. The rotor kept popping off all of the time. I tried lots of different like little methods, and even like having them snap back and forward between like a merge block that snapped when it was all the way down and then snapped again when it was up, so that it would form a station each time. And yeah, nothing would really keep something like this up, especially considering this is going to be in gravity, so it's going to have to lift the entire weight of this. So I thought, I'm going to have to build a ship in order to, I guess, right this thing so it's pointing vertically. And I started small, thinking I'll just build the bare minimum, but I thought these boosters, they can be used in any number. You can put, 8 of them on your ship if you like, and they will all work fine. So the idea is that they will get anything of any weight into space. And I thought if they're carrying a really heavy load, then a little tiny ship to hold it upright wouldn't work. So I went all out, and I slapped this together in Creative in about an hour, then just threw it in a projector here, built it. Obviously this is all atmospheric stuff, so that's why it's merged down there, because otherwise it would float away. Yeah, it's big, it's ugly. Again, going for functionality. All the lights are because when I was building it in Creative, it was dark, and I quite liked kind of lighting up the entire thing. The colour as well was, I don't know, Minty said he liked it, so I left it, but if you've got a colour for that. But I'm thinking I'm going to have to make this look different. So if you could imagine, not that merge block, but the other merge block. So it'll be sitting this way. It will lift the ship up. There's a merge block there. So the ship will be pointing vertically like that, attached to that, and then that merge block there will merge itself to the ground. So I'll basically snap it onto the station. So most of the time while my ship's on the ground, it's going to be stuck to that. So I'm thinking I might even make that look like a station, I guess. Make it look like something that would be on a launch pad. Might be a little difficult because it's so monstrous. But yeah, so I'll kind of make it look like it's a fixed piece of the station, which just pops off, grabs the ship and comes back. I don't know. I'm not sure on it yet, but that's what I'm going to be taking down with me. So that'll be attached. There's a little arm out the bottom. I was using that to move it. But thankfully, because it's got so many of these atmospheric thrusters, landing on the planet's going to be easy. And that's going to stop really quickly. I'm going to have them facing forward, so it's going to be easy to get down. Yeah, so that's why I've got those 3 things built. Oh, by the way, I've got an interesting clip to show. Did I just run out of energy? Of course I have. I'll show this clip now. I had one of the boosters hooked up to the connector. This footage is from Spider-Man. He captured it all, like he has shadow play running all the time, so he managed to grab it. I wasn't recording at the time, so thank you, Spider-Man, for giving me that footage. The ship, the little booster, bugged out, so when I got out of the cockpit that I was sitting in, all of a sudden it just sort of drifted off into the distance, even though it was still connected to the connector. And I didn't know what to do, so I thought, well, I guess maybe if we turn the connector off on the station, because I couldn't catch the ship. It was too laggy and glitching everywhere. So I thought, maybe I'll turn the connector off, and it'll kind of snap back. It'll resync back into position. That definitely did not happen. As you can see now, yeah, boom, things went everywhere in a very big way. I lost that entire thing, but thankfully the station itself wasn't really harmed, so that's what I spent today doing, rebuilding this booster. That was fun. Took me about an hour and a half to rebuild it. Anyway, over here I've built this just looks weird. I'm just trying different things out. I wanted more oxygen tanks to store the oxygen, as well as I definitely needed hydrogen tanks in order to keep these things stocked up, the boosters. So I needed a supply. Spider-Man over here started to build. This is a communications tower. So I haven't actually been in there. I'll wait until he's finished in order to show it off. It's got a laser antenna which we're going to connect up, down. That's one of the reasons why I need to build the communication drone that I'm going to do later, is because I need we want to hook up with the other station down there. Since Spider-Man was going up, I thought I'd go up as well. I just started placing the things that we needed up in a tower. I thought I'm just going to keep adding blocks until I get something that I don't mind. Spider-Man said it looked kind of like some statue to the gods, some tribute. I don't really know what it is. These oxygen farms are probably removed. That look a little bit silly. The entire thing looks out of place, but what we're going for is just a mix-match station here. You know, it's the International Space Station. There's different countries adding different bits. None of them match. Down there I'm going to have to put more refineries in. I'm not sure how, and I'm also going to have to put a sorting system between the two units. It's not going to be a very complicated one. It's just because the default sorting really isn't working. Sal has a drilling ship. It's called Sal's Space Butts, because of course it is. Works really well. Down here, that's what I did. Don't tell Sal. I don't think I'm allowed to use it. For some reason she thinks I'll crash it, but we needed ice, so I did that. Yeah. I'm hoping you don't watch this, Sal. So, Spider-Man did that. But yeah, it works well. I put some lights on it. It needed lights. Everything else has lights. Actually looks quite nice from a distance, this station. Particularly in the dark. Has it been dark the entire time? I feel like this entire time I've been recording, it's been dark. Anyway, that's what we've got so far. It's looking interesting. I quite like it. I'm happy with this build. So, yeah, I'm going to cut away now and we're going to build a communication satellite. This is going to be a little confusing to explain, but at the start of the week, I was intending on showing off the progress so far, a bit of a progress report to say, this is what I've done, which you just saw at the start of this episode, and then the second half, which I was going to record on the Friday of that same week, I was going to record me building the communication satellite. However, the Friday night something came up and I wasn't able to record. I wasn't at home, which I thought was fine. I'll just do it the next week because it was going to be a week before I released it anyway. However, the following Monday, I'm recording this in the day too, so you can probably hear those birds. But yes, the following Monday, I was already scheduled to play a group session with everyone, which were the previous two episodes that you've just seen. And a third one which is coming out tomorrow. That group session was on the following Monday, and I forgot about the communication satellite, because that Monday was my plan to do the big trip down to the planet. So it was going to be a 3-hour session, spend the first 2 hours preparing everything, and the last hour going down to the planet. You've seen those first 2 hours, and then I've interjected this episode between the two, because of the continuity problems I made for myself. You may have already spotted that because I didn't record me building the satellite before I went down, which was kind of the point in order for me to, communicate with the space station when I was on the ground. Without it, I can't. So I went down to the planet, and then I couldn't build my satellite. So I don't have that now. Instead, because of these weird problems, we're going to build a meteor defense drone. I recorded me just sort of toiling away with it, so I'll show that in the background now. Firstly, sort of plotted out a course for it. I did a couple of orbits around, one on a horizontal plane, one on a vertical plane with regards to the station. And on those little tiny drones were to be a turret on top. And I'm just going to keep them stocked, let them continuously do this artificial orbit using the autopilot, just going from point to point slowly around the base, and that was supposed to keep the base safe from meteors, and it seems to have worked so far. Not that we were getting, struck by meteors, but it seemed like a little fun thing to do. The first one I built by hand. I didn't record that, and then made a projection of it, and built the second one. I had to get them out of there. I built them inside, so had a little bit of fun getting them out. The first one I got out without a hitch, nice and easily, as if, I was good at it. The second one I bumped around a little bit, and then set them off on their course after filling them up. And, they seem to be working. It looks quite nice when you're just standing inside looking out the window and see a drone fly past. It's a nice touch. You don't get that in many other open world games. Just things doing their own stuff in the background while you're toiling on other things. Unfortunately, I seem to have scared Sal a little bit. She didn't realize that I'd made them. Well, scared's probably the wrong word. Worried a little. Worried that there were things moving around outside with guns on them. So probably should have told her that was the case. I just thought I'd throw this little episode in to show what I did before I went down to the planet. So that will be in the next episode. If there was ever a Space Engineers episode that I have made that you should watch, that is the one. A lot of interesting stuff happens in it. It's going to be 45 minutes long, and I think all of it is worth watching. It's interesting. I'm not going to spoil it, so just watch that one. Hopefully it'll be out tomorrow, as long as my internet holds up, because it varies between taking 8 hours to 24 or sometimes even more hours to upload these episodes. So yeah, as long as I've got a good upload speed through the night, then that'll be up tomorrow. So enjoy that, and after that next episode I will be down on the planet's surface, so I'll talk to you then. Goodbye.